Hello, my name is Dr. Elizabeth Crawford, and I'm the professor of advertising in the Department of Communication at NDSU. And I'm here with Sadie, who is a student in my class, and we're going to talk a little bit about how we've been managing distance and remote learning in our HyFlex environment here at NDSU. So I want to talk a little bit about a technology that I learned about from Dr. Melissa Vosenkallens in our department, who is our instructional technology professor. She taught us about this technology called Padlet that allows students to collaboratively integrate text and image from anywhere where they might have a laptop or smartphone. And I'll show you what Padlet looks like in a minute. I want to talk a little bit first about my two undergraduate classes that I'm teaching and how I've integrated Padlet so that we can do classroom activities instead of just focusing on lecture during class. So in my creative strategies class, which is COM 376, I used Padlet for integrating design work. So students would be given an assignment, let's say, to capture different principles and elements of design through photography on their smartphones. And during class, I would ask students to disperse anywhere where they might be. So they could do this assignment in the United States or even abroad if they wanted to. I didn't have any international students, but it would have been possible had I had some in my class. So students could take pictures in their backyards, in their apartments, on campus, anywhere they liked. And I gave them a list of principles and elements of design, and some of these items included capturing things like line or balance, emphasis, all different kinds of design elements. And they just used their smartphones. They would capture the element or principle of design, and then they would upload that photograph to the Padlet during class, and they could share their photo with everyone in real time if they chose. The other element is that some students chose to do some of these activities asynchronously. So even if you weren't able to be in class that day, you could still contribute to the assignment by taking photographs whenever you were able and commenting on other people's photos that they took to capture these elements and principles of design. So I continue to use Padlet in that class, and we use it for different graphic design activities that we do, as well as some advertising activities that we're working on now. However, I have Sadie here because we are going to talk a little bit about how Padlet worked in my research class. So in my research class, we started out by looking at ethnographic observation and how that relates to mask wearing. So as you might know, a lot of people seem to think that young people are more to blame than people in the community for not wearing masks. So we decided to do a little activity in our class where we observed mask wearing on NDSU's campus. And we also observed mask wearing anywhere where other students might be. So we had a variety of students who maybe found it convenient to observe downtown, or they were in a different area of the state or in Minnesota, and anywhere they were that was public, they could observe mask wearing and see where they found good mask wearing and bad mask wearing. We also looked at social distancing, both on and off campus. So were people staying 6 feet apart on campus or not? Were they staying 6 feet apart outside of campus or not? And we did a comparison. And maybe not surprisingly, we found that our students had better mask wearing habits than what we found out in the general public, at grocery stores, at Walmarts, at the mall, at downtown areas, or anywhere where people might be able to add to the Padlet. So I'm going to quick share screen and show you what our Padlet looked like, and then I'm going to have Sadie talk a little bit about a student's perspective on this activity. So here is our Padlet, and you can see that we had different categories that students could contribute to. So here I have off-campus observations, which was the group that Sadie contributed to. And we had a variety of categories that students could contribute to on or off campus. So like I said, this is the off-campus one, but we looked at appropriate social distancing off campus, inappropriate social distancing off campus, appropriate mask wearing off campus, and inappropriate mask wearing off campus. So as you can see, there are areas for comments. Because we are showing this publicly, I actually had to delete all the comments because they would identify students. But students could interact on what various students were observing throughout the activity or afterwards if they wanted to, and they could say, oh, I was at Walmart and I observed the same things you were observing at Hornbacher's. Or maybe you're in downtown Fargo and I'm in downtown Sioux Falls, and we're seeing similar types of activities all across the community. So in addition to posting textual observations, if students felt like contributing a photograph, they could do that as well. So we have some posts with photographs, some posts with text, but we have a variety of observations that students made about how people were wearing masks and whether they were wearing them appropriately. So as we know, some people wear them a little lower than maybe they ought, or maybe over their chins, or they're not quite covering all the parts of their faces that they should. However, like I said, we found that NDSU students were being champion mask wearers and doing a really good job. So that's kind of the scope of the assignment, but now I would like to hand it over to Sadie to talk a little bit about what this looked like from the students' perspective.
So this week we got to all go where we wanted to and observe. I was downtown with some people in my group, and we saw very mixed like mask wearing. I remember one large group of people were eating outside a spicy pie and they had masks on, but then they would take it off and pass around the same drink, but then put their mask back on. And they were not social distancing, so I kind of found that strange that they would wear the mask properly but then take it off and share something with people. Or if like the same group walked into a store, they would put it on because the store made them, and then right when they walked out they would take it off but still not be 6 feet apart from whoever they were with. Or if people were stopped at the stop signs to cross the street, they were still very close knit. But it was very inconsistent, and I saw that the mask was only worn when it was required, and it wasn't worn properly a lot of the times, or it was sharing cigarettes with people and then putting the mask back on. So it was very inconsistent from what I saw downtown.
So how did you feel that observing mask wearing helped you understand observational research for strategic communication?
It helped a lot, especially for the project we're doing in the class right now. I think it was a good hands-on example, especially with online learning. It was one of the things that can like stick out in my head. And it's nice that people didn't know we were watching them, so they were just acting natural. And it's not like a survey where you ask a question and it prompts them to think one way or the other. It's just what they do subconsciously.
Sounds good. So are there any other things you would like to add that you think would be helpful to future students who are maybe working on Padlet for compiling research?
It's a good platform to use, especially when you're working in groups. It's nice that people can write what their thoughts are, and then you're able to comment on it, and people can just keep commenting on it, and it's able to be edited, and you can add direct links right into it, photos. It's actually like a really nice, it's like a better version of Google Docs.
I would agree. Well, thank you, Sadie, for your insights. And that's just a little bit of information about what we've been working on COM 470 and in COM 376. And hopefully this gives you a little bit of an idea of what some of our hybrid classes are looking for and some of the activities that we can still do in spite of social distancing. So I think technology is accommodating us quite well, and we can still have fun in the classroom, even though we have to wear masks and stay 6 feet apart or more. So thank you so much for your attention, and we'll see you later. Bye.